Drag Race is back and with more queens than ever, but also one of the shortest run times ever. Drag Race 15 is proving to be the biggest, but also somehow the smallest season we've had in a very long time. I'm Grady.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Charisse.
And this is Highlights. So Drag Race takes forever, so we're going to do these in batches. So we're going to do an episode of highlights per 3 weeks of Drag Race, at least until we get to the semifinals and finale. So I think that'll be a little easier in terms of content for everybody viewing highlights on the channel, and also a lot easier for us because now the drag never stops year round for us. So we're going to test this out, but I think we'll be okay. As we said in the intro, this season is big, but also somehow very small. So there's a lot to cover, but also because of the edits, a lot not to cover. So
It's almost like a big movie, but on fast forward. I hope you catch everything.
Right, exactly. Okay, so let's dive into this. So episode 1/2, it was a two-parter, big 2-hour premiere. And I'm glad they didn't stretch it over 2 weeks because it really was one giant episode. But it was one night only, which was the talent show. And after we get a whopping 16 queens into the workroom in one episode, which was crazy, we have to sit through a massive talent show. So real quick before we start generally discussing this episode, the queens are brought in two different groups, which means we get two different mini challenges for them both referencing photo shoots from Drag Race past. Group 1 did the car wash photo from season 1, and group 2 did the motorcycle wind turbine photo shoot from season 2. A joy to watch, I will say. I did enjoy this quite a bit. Then we go to the main stage fairly quickly after they have to choreograph an opening number, which turned out to be completely pointless because it had nothing to do with the talent show. It was mainly just to make all 16 queens fight with each other immediately, which I appreciate. So before we dive into this, let's chat about Rue's look. Do we like this?
I think this is very classic Rue. Like she does
It
that.
is very classic Rue.
Yeah, she does that silhouette, this kind of dress very often.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it, but I'm not like, oh wow, she looks fierce. It's just meh.
It's just there.
She showed up.
It's true. I mean, it's a great color and
Mhm.
it's a great cut. Nothing wrong
It
with
is.
it. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Our guest judge for the big premiere was Ariana Grande, which I think is where the bulk of their guest judge budget went to. I will say, so she's been here before, and I really didn't enjoy her last time. And I'm not an Ariana Grande fan. I think her name sounds like a Taco Bell item. There's just a lot about her I don't enjoy, like from the ground up. But dare I say that maybe it's because I had to sit with her for this extended amount of time, and by the 2-hour mark, I was delirious. But I actually started to really warm up to her by the end of this, especially after seeing her interact with them in Untucked. I get a vibe that she really actually watches the show, that she really engages with the contestants. She seems to act, based on some of her other social media posts when I did a little research on this, she seems to actually know a few of the contestants, and I'm assuming that's because of her brother. Her brother is pretty big in the gay community. So I actually think that this really meant something to her, and it made me actually see her in a very different way. So good for you, Drag Race. But I actually quite enjoyed her as a judge this time around. Okay. So big ol' episode. So again, they have to choreograph this opening number, which again, I don't know what the aside from the drama stirring and taking up a bulk of the 2-hour block, I don't know what the point of this was. It ended up being like 2 minutes of this when it all boiled down to, and then that was it. And then we go right into the talent show. So any general thoughts on the talent show, things that stuck out to you, people you liked, people you didn't like, anything like that?
I think the further along the franchise we go, the more boring the talent shows are
Mm-hmm.
because everyone does an original song or at the base level a lip sync. So we had three lip
Yep.
syncs, four, no, sorry, four lip syncs.
Yep.
And then almost everyone else did an original song except for Marsha,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Lucy LaDuca. She did her live singing, which didn't go over so well for her. And Jax.
No.
Um, and Anitra, I mean, she did an original song, but it was special. And it makes the people who don't do an original song or lip sync stand out so much more because, like, I don't know, once you hear a song about how much of a badass you are, it just, if the other 12 queens do that too, you're not as much of a badass. It's just boring.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it very much felt like that. And then it felt like Malaysia was like, oh no, Mistress Isabella put some lyrics about being a big girl in her song too. Dang it. Like that was like the look on her face. And I was like, but you didn't think you were going to be the only one, right? I mean, there's like 4 queens from Connecticut or something like that. Like, holy crap.
Right. The whole like we need a big girl to win bit that every big girl says when they step onto the runway is so
Mm-mm.
tired and old. Like we get it, you're big. Like what else do you got?
Yeah, I agree. So according to my notes, we got a whopping 5 lip syncs and 9 original songs out of 16 contestants. um, so I don't know. I just feel like the point of the talent show has really lost its purpose, which was to showcase something special about them. And I just feel like I'm not saying these people are non-talented, but I just feel like if you have nothing else to show other than the stuff you're already required to perform on this show, then it makes me lose a little bit of interest in you, which is why I think I appreciated people like Anitra so much.
Anitra was unexpected. So was Jax.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
I
enjoyed them
appreciated
both.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. And I will, we'll get into this more, but Jax, I think, is I wouldn't say Jax is particularly strong amongst the competitors, right? But I did appreciate that this showcased something really special about her and something really awesome that she can do in terms of skill that nobody else can do. That really sets her at least apart from everybody else and makes her memorable because some of these people, I mean, there's a lot of people in the room, but I couldn't tell you a lot about them.
Right. And that's the whole point of the talent show, right? Is to showcase something that makes you not just a lip syncing drag queen. But
Uh-huh.
they all seem to fall into that. I'm a lip syncing drag queen. I'm gonna run with that.
Yep.
No, for sure. And even if you're going to do comedy, like the comedy queens that stuck out to me are the ones that fell flat. Like Irene Dubois, Irene
Yeah,
Dubois really could have done something with that. And there was no punchline. And then
no,
Amethyst, the punchline came way too early.
I agree.
So, yeah.
I completely agree.
I wrote down that Selena S. Titties was funny and trashy and that I loved it and that she had a decent talent, but like I can't remember what she did right now. So
Yeah,
it must have been an original song.
Yeah, she also did an original song,
she did.
Yeah.
Yes.
but with
Um,
flair.
yeah. And my note for her song just said, it's fine. So I couldn't even tell you like really what it was. Some surprises for me also were like Marsha, who I didn't put a lot of stock in when she entered the workroom, but she was really hilarious on stage. You know, and then everybody else, I think, either just really missed the mark or fell into the background. I was a little impressed by the twins. And a little, like, I mean, a little, but they did better than I expected.
For sure. The twins, I wrote down Sugar was okay talent and Spice was decent talent. Like that was as far as I went with it.
That's about right,
Yes,
though. I mean, it's
it is about
very
right.
But that's how I felt
meh,
about a
but an
lot of the
okay
talent
meh.
show. Right. Like it
Yeah.
was like, man, most of it I was like, you're gonna
Yeah.
lip sync for me? Meh.
Well, you know what I think bothers me so much about original songs that they lip sync is that I don't know the song and the performance is always so fast. I can't really hear what you're saying anyway.
No.
So it's like I really
And I
didn't
don't
learn
care.
anything about you. You're right. I didn't learn anything about you because I don't
Yeah.
know that song. So it's okay.
Yeah. And I don't know you enough to care. So
Right.
I don't know. So people who placed high for the talent show were Jax, Marsha, and Anitra. Anitra, of course, took the very first win for the talent show for her karate chopping action, which I enjoyed. I think I've watched that clip of her doing it maybe 1,000 times. It's just fantastic. And then people who placed low were, of course, Irene, Amethyst, and Lucy LaDuca, which was fascinating. Bottom two were Amethyst and Irene Dubois. And Amethyst, I would say, kind of destroyed her in that lip sync. And unfortunately, Irene was forced to leave. People are actually going home this season. I'm very excited. So off she went. Which brings us to episode 3, All Queens Go to Heaven, where the queens had to they were split into 3 groups. They had to create a skit about a drag queen afterlife and present it in a way that made people want to die and go there. So this was not my favorite episode. I will say that. Before we get into that, the groups were as follows. I think I have notes on that right here. So for our infomercial team challenge here, we have Team Anitra, which was Anitra, Lux Noir London, Sasha Colby, Selena S. Titties, and Marsha. Team Amethyst, which was Amethyst, Lucy LaDuca, Aura Mayari, Spice, Princess Poppy. And then what became known as Team Leftovers, which was everybody else who was not chosen, which was Jax, Malaysia Baby Doll Fox, Mistress Isabel Brooks, Robin Fierce, and Sugar. So all 3 again had to create afterlives, film a commercial for it, and really sell it infomercial style. So you want to go there when you die. And it had very interesting results. So before we get into that, we go to the main stage first. So let's talk about Rue's look this episode. And I gotta say, this is also very simple, but I liked it. I thought she looked like an Oscar. She looks very gorgeous. I like the gold on her. And this is the kind of Rue that I appreciate personally.
Yeah,
She looks like
I think the gold makes it
Barbie.
different. Yeah, she looks like a Barbie doll.
Mm-hmm.
The flashiness with the metallic, I think, just works a little better than like the one we talked about before. It kind of stands out a little more, even though it's the same silhouette and really is the same kind of dress. I think it looks better.
Yeah.
I know, almost even with the same ruching down the middle, but she looks fantastic in this dress.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Guest judge is Marin Morris, who I believe, or Marin Morris, who I believe is a country singer. And self-proclaimed LGBTQIA plus ally, which is good for her. And it's really cool to see somebody from the country music community really supporting something like this in such a big way. And it seemed like it meant a lot to her. So I appreciate her. I have no idea who she is. I'm not familiar with anything she sings, but
She sings that In the Middle song that Target used in their ads for a hot minute, and then they replayed it over and over and over again in the store.
oh, that's cool.
That's pretty much it.
She's new
Okay,
country. She's not
got it.
like obviously from the Dolly Parton set.
Right. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not familiar with her, but I appreciate her. I'm glad she's there. Also want to point out T.S. Madison, who has been added as a revolving judge permanently for Drag Race. Um, and she's already been doing some stuff for Wow Presents Plus on the side, so good for her. So getting into this, I want to bring up the runway first because it was a metallic runway. I hate it when they do metal runways because I feel like nobody ever really does it effectively. And then a lot of the people who do turn out good stuff, it's really more like reflective than it is metallic. So it always just makes for kind of like a awkward runway with a lot of peaks and valleys, and I don't really like it.
Lucy LaDuca obviously looked
She looked good.
fantastic. Um, didn't really care for Sasha Colby's silver chicken look,
I didn't
but she
either.
was
But everyone
great
ate
in
it
the
up.
skit. It was different. I will give you that it is different. It was camp, I guess, from
Is
the
it?
Colby family. From the Colby family.
Okay.
Right. Like obviously they don't like being ugly and they don't there's yeah.
Like to me, it was just another Vegas showgirl. It's just silver.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we've seen Vegas showgirl done so much better on this show in past seasons. Um, and I don't know why everyone ate it up. Everyone was just like gagged about it. And I'm like, okay, but like, why?
I don't know.
For what?
I
I,
really
I
liked Mistress Isabella's look though,
Mm,
with the big gold shoulders.
yeah,
I
I
liked it
do.
from the waist up.
It's same.
It
I'll
fell
give
short for
you
me below that.
there was a little bit missing from the bottom maybe, but she serves up a decent silhouette every single time and her proportionizing is on point.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
I
liked
appreciate that.
I liked Amethyst's look with aside from the
Yes.
boots. The boots really stuck out for me and
Yeah,
I can't really pinpoint why.
yeah,
But I liked everything else about it. It's just the boots were kind of off-putting, but I otherwise liked how it flowed. I think a couple people did like a flowy gold gown, and I think she really did it the best, in my opinion.
Yes. I
there
agree
you
with you.
go. Um, Oddly enough, I really liked the twins. I don't know why.
How dare you, sir?
Okay, so here's the thing. I didn't mind the twins. I thought it was a really cool look. But
Yeah,
as someone whose husband is very deep in the doll community, and when he points out that they're emulating looks already done by
they are. Yeah,
dolls,
they've mentioned
Yeah.
that.
it
Hmm.
ruins the creativity for me. So I know they put their own spin on it, and I know obviously going from a doll look to a human look is hard, but it makes it hard for me to be like, well, you didn't really come up with that yourself then. That's really just, the Bratz Jade doll from, the Rocker series or whatever.
Yeah,
So it's beautiful and they look great and they're put together, but it's not their own idea. So I
yeah,
have a hard time with it.
yeah,
It lacks originality.
Right.
yeah,
Thank you.
Yes,
yeah,
that was my complaint from their first runway. The Ariel and Belle. I just,
And even then they're emulating like Disney
right.
collector dolls because it's what the Disney collector dolls look like.
the response to them is interesting because even watching like the pit stop, for example, like Bianca Del Rio's kind of loving them, which I think is hilarious. She's like, yeah, they're really delivering.
The fan response is so weird. Like, and it's the same with like with fans who are huge stands of like Lux Noir. Like
Hmm.
their girl can do no wrong and they won't hear any criticism about it. And it's just like, okay, but are you objectively looking at their performance in this competition and their looks? Like, or do you just like think that, oh, they're fierce, they slay, I love them? No, like look at them like an
Mhm.
actual contestant, like you would anybody else. But
Yeah,
these like stan accounts and like fans that are diehard for their people, like just drive
I
me
know.
nuts.
Oh, I know. I hear it. I want to talk about before we move on, but we talk about Selena STDs real quick as the street light.
She is so funny.
It's
I
different.
I hated this look when
She
it came
stood
out.
out. It was original. If we're going to talk about the twins in the way that we just spoke about the
Yeah,
twins.
I
Like a traffic
So
light, she stood out.
I got
yeah,
that. I got the humor. I appreciate that the signs were large. You could actually read them. There were a lot of things, but I didn't pick up the street lamp right away,
me
which
neither.
was,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Did a look at it for a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, what is this headpiece she's got on? And and it took me a while. And then when I realized what it was, and then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Still hate it. But you know, and I loved like the pit stop where Bianca, her main critique was like, well, the street lights, one, don't usually have the signs on them, and two, they don't have more than one or two. And I was like, yes, that was that's what was wrong. Um,
I love her on the pit stop.
yeah, I will say Fashion Photo Review, I think, raved over this outfit.
Mhm.
And I follow the person who made all the props on it, and he was very proud of it. So I was like, I guess I won't trash it. But um she's got to do something else for me. She seems very one note in a lot of the stuff she does, and I really want to appreciate her, and to a certain degree I do, but I need to see some variations and some stuff she does.
Yeah, there needs to be
Yeah.
some growth and diversity there.
Okay, moving on. So Team Anitra. So they did the one where with Sasha Colby as God. I definitely think this was the best of the three.
Mm-hmm.
I will say none of the three like blew me away. Am I alone there?
No, they were all, I mean, this was the best, but it was a mediocre best.
Yeah. I don't know. This was whatever.
And I did not think it was going to be as good from the clips they showed us of them
No,
filming it.
no,
And if it wasn't for that neck cracking thing, I don't think it would have been funny at all.
nope.
Yeah. It was the funniest in comparison to the other two. And definitely compared to the bomb. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Amethyst team. Yeah, that was very terrible.
Oh, let's go there. So Team Amethyst did this, which had one saving grace, which was Lucy's Dolly Parton,
Mm-hmm.
which was the only real peak that it had.
Absolutely.
And you can even tell, like, there's a separation. Like, Lucy's like, oh, this is not where I want to be. You know, it is what it is. I remember nothing except for Lucy's Dolly Parton, which was just fantastic.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And they all
When
even they all became quadruplets. Like somehow the twins have duplicated themselves in this group. I don't know what happened. Oh, so awful.
This is
it
the
was
one they
like,
started in like the martini glass, right? Or the mimosa glass.
I think so.
Okay. It's hard to remember.
yeah. So Aura was basically just dancing in the background the whole time. And then everybody else was just, I don't know if they just didn't write their skit very well or if they're like, oh, we're just going to improv this. Oh, no, no. Princess Poppy said she wrote all the jokes. That's right. They did write stuff down. Hmm.
They put
Just
pen to
kidding.
paper.
Yeah, that's right. That's all I can recall from the skit. And so
They
that's
meant to do this.
bad. Yeah.
Oh God. But wait, it gets worse. So the leftovers
Yeah, they should have given
proved,
themselves a different name.
yeah, and they proved that they were that for a reason. So this all started because they all couldn't really come into an agreement on things to begin with. And
Mhm.
poor Sugar gets put in a pretty weird spot this episode because Sugar is so annoying, nobody wants to listen to her, first of all. So even though Sugar has, along with Spice, has millions of followers for doing stuff kind
Just
of
like
like
this.
this, yeah. Nobody gives her the time of day because she can't stop being annoying when she's talking about it.
But also, everybody knows that you're never going to do a trashy Beyonce. No one is ever going to disrespect her that way. You can't start off with that. No one's going to listen to your ideas.
Yeah, I guess. But then what
They've
gets
tried it
weird,
before.
yeah. But then what gets weird is then during the process of actually creating this, they kind of put it on her shoulders,
And she
performance
carried
wise.
that whole thing. Not
Yeah,
well, but she carried it.
right.
Right.
They all
And
just kind of took a
Jax.
step back.
Yeah, which was so weird.
And later, Jax, before the runway, was saying that she wrote the whole thing and that she had to
Mm-hmm.
do everything and lead the whole thing and organize everything. And I'm like, again, just like Amethyst team, I'm like, oh, oh, you did write stuff down. Okay. There
Yeah,
is a clear lack of organization and leadership here,
yeah,
but
no,
good try.
yeah,
But then
it
in
is
deliberation, she
awful.
said that she really couldn't get her ideas across, and no one was listening and no one was cooperating. So it's like, which is it, girl?
Mm-hmm.
Did you run the damn thing, or could you not get a
Or
word in
did you not?
edgewise?
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
Right. And then
I,
Sugar was saying that she was giving them all good stuff and that no one was picking up what she was throwing down. And I was like, okay, but like which part was
Well,
improv
in
and which
her
part did you
mind, it was
guys,
good stuff.
but which part did you guys write down?
I don't think they wrote anything down.
no, I think they wrote things down in their brain individually.
And then never rehearsed, which is also another problem. You should definitely rehearse.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they were not on the same page, and it really hurt them.
And this
It
is
hurt
also
them
the
a
problem
lot.
I have with Queen's like Mistress, because her whole bit at the first episodes were, she's seasoned, she can't handle, or she doesn't like being around such like baby queens who don't perform. But if you're going to tote being so seasoned, then why don't you take a leadership role and show people what it is you can do and how to do it? But you'd rather just sit back and let things lay where they land.
I agree. So speaking of where things landed, people
Hmm.
who did well this time around were Lucy LaDuca, good for her, way to climb her way back up. Lux Noir London, interesting. And Sasha Colby. And people who placed low were Jax, Amethyst, and Princess Poppy. So, of course, Sasha Colby took the win. Um, I'm gonna say that was by default, to be quite honest with you. And personally, I think I would have given it maybe to Lucy,
Hmm.
but I don't know. So good for Sasha Colby. And then Amethyst once again in the bottom. Not a great start for Amethyst this competition. Amethyst and Princess Poppy battle it out, and of course Princess Poppy gets eliminated. And I would agree based on the lip sync, to be honest. Okay, so moving on to the supersized snatch game, which is fascinating. So I think when they filmed this and decided to do this episode this way, they did not know that they were moving to MTV and being cut down to 50 minutes. Oops. So this edit does the best it can to keep up, and boy, it makes things interesting. First of all, RuPaul walks in with Michelle's hair stuck to him. This is an outfit I believe he wore to the Met Gala, so good for him. He's making the most out of this. It's like not enough people saw it the first time. So good for him. But we pretty much go right into the snatch game because we don't have time for anything. And I'm wondering if we've been doing mini challenges the past couple episodes and we just don't have time to show them. So that makes things interesting when tracking winnings and things like that, because I don't really know. But we go right into the snatch game. Oh boy. So we go in 2 different groups. So we had Marsha as Tim Gunn. I believe this is Lux as Amanda Lepore. And this is, who the hell is this?
Malaysia.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you, like some of these people, I'm like, they're not special to me quite yet. Malaysia was Saucy Santana.
I watched it this morning. That's why.
That's good. Thank you. This is Mistress
Isabella
as a sort of Rosie O'Donnell. Anitra as
Georgina Ramsey.
This is such a bizarre idea. I wish we had seen more of it. And then we have Robin Fierce as Karen Hunger. She's hungry. No. Someone feed her. She's a Real Housewife, which is always a bad idea. And speaking of probably not great ideas, Selena Estides as the Virgin Mary.
Choices.
Yeah, this was a fascinating group. Because of the edit, we really don't spend any time with Anitra. And I'm assuming that's because she didn't stand out one way or the other, which is also kind of sad for Anitra. And the couple jokes we did get to see were kind of whatever, unfortunately. Mistress
I'm okay
did
with
really
that
well.
though.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Anitra being completely safe, middle of the road, not bombing, not being fantastic.
Yeah, I'm okay with
I'm
that
okay
too.
with it.
Mistress was a surprise standout. There's because it's not really, the impersonation is not great, but the commitment to this version she was doing was great, and I loved it.
It was like a melding of Rosie and Abby Lee Miller, and she ran with it.
Yeah, she just did it.
But even when, oh my goodness, Pandora Box did Carol Channing, she just picked one era, right?
Yeah.
So I totally appreciate that Mistress Isabella just picked one Rosie O'Donnell and just stuck with it and was completely committed. It was so funny.
I loved it.
So was Tim Gunn.
Yeah, Marsha again, kind of a surprise.
Right.
She's really, it's her skill is actually quite good, especially when it comes to comedy. But it's like it's the other aesthetic stuff that I think she needs to kind of
the runway where she really struggles.
Yeah, it's where she needs to kind of get beyond the club or whatever she's doing. She needs to elevate that a little bit, I think, for her to really make it. But I think she'll be able to actually stand her own for a while based on some of this, because it seems like as long as she's doing stuff like this, the judges are willing to forgive it a little bit.
But she has to also be making improvements along the way.
Yeah.
So she better go pick up some Swarovski crystals and start gluing that shit down to her dress. Like she has to do something on the runway because they're not going to forgive it forever.
Yeah, I agree. Oh,
this was so painful.
Yeah. So group 2, in a weird, because of Lucy was my favorite group. So we had, despite everything else that was happening. So first we had Lucy as Joan Rivers, which was great. Sasha Colby as this person I'm not familiar with. I didn't really learn much about it from Sasha's performance, to be honest. So there's that. This was a smart choice, I actually thought.
This is funny.
Yeah, there's this thing where if you don't have a lot of comedic personality, to do something like this, I think makes it better because then you're picking something that has even less personality than you do.
Mhm.
So then by default, it looks like you're doing something with it. So I don't think it was enough, but I definitely thought it was a good choice.
It's also someone who knows they're not that funny and not that
Right,
witty and not that spontaneous. So they have to put their comedy on the outside. So visually, they're funny
right. I
because
agree.
nothing else is going to be funny.
Mm-hmm. So this is Sugar as is her name Trisha?
Trisha Paytas.
Trisha Paytas, who I'm not familiar with. I think I've looked her up and I think I've seen her in a meme or something a couple
Yeah,
times.
she's a
Yeah,
problematic like internet personality.
fantastic. She does not look like this person to me.
No.
And no, this just looks like all her other outfits.
Yeah.
Just looks like Sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could go like 100% with it and make her look ugly, grotesque, like how Trisha tends to look sometimes. And then it would have probably hit the mark a little more, but it's like she didn't want to not be pretty.
Yeah. We had Amethyst as the tan mom, who I'm also not that familiar with.
I'm not either.
Also didn't care. I thought this was great.
This was from a while ago. I think she tried to tan her kid, or maybe she did tan her kid. I don't know.
Okay. I'm a mandated reporter, so I think
Oh, no, no. But that's why everybody knows about her because she already did get reported.
um okay. Amethyst Amethyst has a lot of potential for me, but there's just something like where she just doesn't quite get there for me. But among some of the other people in this group, I thought this was great.
Fair. This was second best for me. My question for the group is there, I realize that humor differs everywhere, but is Connecticut just not that funny?
I think it's a
Because
safe assessment.
if she is the most hilarious person and known for her comedic timing, then I don't know what to say. She's not that funny.
Yeah. Or she has a great deal of time to edit before she puts anything out that is funny. So coming up with it on the fly is not her strong suit.
Mm-mm. Well, if there's a theme for this episode, it's be funnier, Connecticut.
Right. You ain't at Stanford.
This is Spice as Miley question mark.
Oh my goodness.
This was wild.
Train wreck.
This was wild. And what made it even more cringy is I think Spice thought she was gonna destroy this. Like
She thought
she
she ate
she
and
was
she did
switching
not.
up. Yeah, she was switching up into different eras of Miley. She was like, this is gonna be fantastic. This is gonna be great. And it was not.
It was not.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. And this is Aura as
Oh.
this person.
Amethyst looked good compared to everybody else on the front row.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Lucy LaDuca just hit it out of the park. She was amazing.
Yeah. I wish we had weeded some of these people out before getting to Snitch.
I know, I was so excited. I was like, oh, great. We're going to see even more Snatch Game because there's more contestants. And I agree. I wish they had waited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's breeze through this.
It's like I wanted to have the plan B after
Plan B.
after watching Snatch Game and just be like,
Oh no. I need one of those Men in Black memory eraser
Yes.
pens.
Yes.
Um, Rue's look tonight. Unfortunately, she was dragged behind a car in this dress. Um,
Through an ostrich farm.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
no. I actually really I don't mind the dress. I think the dress actually looks cool. I don't know if I really like the hair choice with it, but I think she looks fine.
The dress needs to be shorter for me. Other than that, I don't mind it. Like I didn't mind the waist up cut edit they were doing. I was like, oh, she looks nice. Okay. And then full length, I'm like, no.
I wouldn't mind if it was more like a gown versus like a form-fitting dress like this. I think it would look really, really
Mm.
pleasing. But I agree,
Oh, yeah.
wrong wig choice. The wig choice throws it off for me.
Guest judge was, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Amandla Stenberg. No idea who that is. Good for her. And she did okay, I guess, this episode.
She also seemed like someone who is a fan of the show.
Yeah, I
She had like the
appreciated it.
faces on her shirt and stuff.
Yeah. Good for her. The runway was Beautiful Nightmare, and I was pretty underwhelmed by almost everybody this go around. Like, what was happening? You know, don't send Drag Race to do a Dragula's job.
Right.
Thank
This was not good, especially coming right off of Dracula. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this scary
This
or
was
beautiful? Neither. Got it.
This was
Yeah.
awful stuff.
Yeah. If you thought the metallic one was your least favorite, this one hands down was mine. I was offended and just I felt disrespected. I don't know why they're trying to I don't know why they're trying to do this. Everybody knows that RuPaul loves a pageant queen, so just yeah.
Choices. This was also my least favorite one
Choices.
so far.
Yeah.
And I think the worst one for me is the Lady Gaga cosplay,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
which to me not only didn't really fit in with the runway theme, but also is literally just a cosplay replica of what she did. And then she was like, "Don't worry, I'm bleeding." But I'm like, we know you were going to do that because that's what this was.
Because we saw it.
Right. This, no. Oh,
Right.
God.
I just wrote because if people hadn't bombed so bad in the snatch game, she would have been in the bottom again.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Anyways, highs and lows. So the highs and lows were the obvious ones, pretty much. So Marsha, Mistress Isabel Brooks, and Lucy LaDuca all placed high, with Aura, Sugar, and Spice placing low. And then we get some results, which were as follows. So Lucy LaDuca wins for her Joan Rivers. I can't argue with that at all. I think she's home run that
she
thing.
Killed it.
Yeah, loved it. Loved every minute of it. Bottom two were Sugar and Spice, and I don't. I mean, I don't debate it, but I also feel like Aura maybe should have been up here, but they couldn't resist putting the twins together.
Well, RuPaul
we all knew
realized
that was going to happen.
she's paying two people for the same person. So one of them needed to get cut.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason Aura wasn't in the bottom.
Yeah.
But this was choices.
Yeah.
I still don't know who they are as people because they've still never given us original work.
Because they're both the same person. I mean, you get a little more depth from them in the Untucked because I think they realize like, oh, one of us is going home or both of us are going home. But it's like that's a little too late, and the codependency there is just so palpable that it's they need to be their own person. And I understand through trauma and bonding and being a twin, like that's its own situation, but man.
So apparently in their Twinnerverse fantasy, they were going to be the first twins on RuPaul. And if they ever got put up for elimination, it was going to be a double sash or a double Shantae.
Mhm.
And then they were both going to share the crown at the end.
No.
Like that's what I picked up from this episode and Untucked specifically.
Yeah.
Nope. They performed this lip sync that they apparently choreographed together.
I don't know why.
But it wasn't a good choreography.
I know.
No. And Sugar, man, Sugar's a mess.
Yes. And then Spice does the same thing in every lip sync performance
Yeah.
that she does, where it's like this like epileptic seizure.
Yeah.
That's like it's getting very old. Like, come on, girl.
Yeah, like take your medicine. Yeah. Between the two, Sugar is definitely a mess. Like she's always falling all over the place. Their entry look, like her wig was coming out. Like for some reason, even though they do the exact same stuff and they've been doing it together the whole time, Spice, it just comes a little more naturally for some reason, which is weird. So it'll be interesting to see when she doesn't have to bounce off Sugar anymore. What she does. But anyways, yeah, so Sugar, they try to, I think, save themselves by doing everything the same. But Sugar's a mess, so Sugar gets the boot.
Do you think that was their strategy?
I think one, they didn't want to fight against each other in a lip sync. Two, also their whole brand is doing everything the same and performing together, so I think there's that. And then also I think if they did that, then they would either both get eliminated or both saved.
Okay.
And not have to split up, but here we are.
Good reasons. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but here we are. So sad little doll Sugar
Yeah.
gets told to leave. Bye. Anyways.
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. And that's how the first handful of episodes went down. Let's see how people reacted. It's time for top tweets. All right, let's get into the scoreboard. What? We have a lot of people to track. So let's get into this. So y'all know my point system. Here it is. So far, here's how everybody shook out during the first handful of episodes. And here's how many challenge wins everybody has. So Irene had won 1 mini challenge before exiting. Good for her. She had $2,500 when she left. That we know of. We don't know if we're getting other mini challenges or not. Anitra, of course, won a challenge. She's got $5,000. Sasha Colby's won a challenge. She's got $5,000. Lucy LaDuca has won 1 mini challenge and 1 maxi challenge, so she's got $7,500 so far. Good for her. Again, that we know of. Okie doke. Actual rankings. Let's get into it. So after episode 4, here's how everybody shakes out. So Anitra, Sasha Colby, and Lucy LaDuca all tied 1st through 3rd. They're the current front runners of the competition. And for the most part, I would agree. I think definitely Lucy LaDuca is going to catch more momentum. She had a rough start, but I think she's going to be fine. Anitra, I'm worried might have the opposite effect, where she started off really strong, but if she can't keep up with some of these other things, she's going to putter out a little bit. Marsha is in 4th, and I think that's a correct assessment for her. She's almost up there, but not quite elevated enough to be a front runner. Lux Noir London and Mistress Isabel Brooks are tied 5th and 6th. And then 7th through 10th are Malaysia Baby Tall Fox, Selena Estides, Jax, Robin Fierce. They've all pretty much been safe the entire time. Aura Mayari, especially after placing low, is now in 11th place. Spice is in 12th place. Amethyst, clinging to life, in 13th place. And of course, our first 3 eliminated people: Sugar in 14th place, Princess Poppy in 15th place, and Irene Dubois in 16th. So it's still pretty early on. So because we have so many people, a lot of people are just very middle ground right now. So until we start really chopping people out, it is what it is.
At least people are actually going home this season, though.
Yes.
Oh, God, thank God.
I know. This is a mixed bag of weird stuff this season, because I think, one, they still thought that they were going to still have their same runtime, and they knew, though, that the fan base wasn't going to sit around for all of the nobody goes home for half the season shenanigans anymore. So,
well, yeah, but we're also not going to sit around for that show we do not speak of that showed up in between Drag Race and Untucked.
I know.
So forced.
It is. It's the we're talking
Don't
about the
say
real
its
friends.
name.
I'm sorry. Okay. Anyways, the one with the group of 4 gay people who aren't real friends, but they're trying to make us believe they are friends.
That is the realest description. Thank you so much for
it's
that.
ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
The show as a production is forced. Trying to make us watch it is so forced. It's not happening. It currently has a 1.5 star rating on IMDb out of 10. So I'm hoping it just gets canceled.
That makes sense. Yeah. Give us 2 hours of Drag Race, even though you already edited the season, you bastards.
Yeah. So I can see where Drag Race is going back to basics to keep the fan base, but then they got a curveball by moving to MTV and not only shortening their runtime, but now also splitting it from Untucked, which I think is really going to hurt it.
Yeah, and the back to basics, but no mini challenges, no judges deliberations, none of this. Just go.
Yeah. So because of the new edit, they also have to kind of tear away from the basics, which is not good. And
then
so
fast forward my runway.
Yeah. So we'll see how this works out for the show. I definitely think it's going to hurt it in several ways. And I'm sure RuPaul's not happy, just as the fans are. So we'll see. I don't know. But I definitely think an Emmy is off the table this time around. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Oops. But as always, these are the contestants we started with. There's so many of them. And here's who we have left. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Is there anybody you're rooting for as of yet out of this group?
I really like Marsha. I just don't know if she's going to be able to change her aesthetic enough to really stand out in like runway challenges.
I agree.
I like Lucy LaDuca.
Mhm.
She
Me too.
reminds me a little bit of like Nina Westish kind of energy, but
Yeah.
maybe not necessarily, like she needs a little bit more self-confidence, maybe.
Yeah.
And then Mistress Isabella Brooks is really growing on me for some reason.
That's cool. I love that.
So yeah, those would have to be my standouts so far.
That's good. Currently I'm Team Spice for the crown. Uh
Work.
No. Lucy's really grown on me. I really think she has what it takes probably to go all the way. So I'm kind of rooting for her and expecting her to actually do quite well. And I'm very much into Anitra. I think she's very
Yes.
fascinating.
Hmm.
Again, I don't know if she can keep up the momentum she started with, but I hope she does because I think she's great.
It's true. I need her runways to be a tiny bit more.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's going to catch up to her soon. Okay. But that's pretty much it. That's where things shook out after episode 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race. We'll be back in a few weeks for another check-in to see where things are at. If you would like to check out any of our past or ongoing coverage of Drag Race Season 15, you can find that right here on the PG Media channel. Subscribe today so you don't miss out. You can also check out past coverage of other shows like Dragula and Drag Race on this channel as well as all kinds of other content you can discover on the PG Media channel as well. You can also find social media information in the description below that you can follow if you want. We don't always use it, but it's there. And with that all being said, as always,
Thank you for watching highlights.
And we'll see you next time.